Alright everybody, what's going on? 5869 back with the CDEC Classic, but this time we're on 6.86, so anything can happen. We're just going to jump right into the picks and bans. Hopefully we're going to see some pretty funky stuff this game. And already we've got a Meepo ban, so Meepo, one of the heroes that didn't really get a nerf that most people maybe thought should have gotten one. Sure, he got the whole DD rune, doesn't affect all your Meepos. Still a fairly strong hero. Earth Spirit going to get banned out as well. Nobody really wants to deal with that, despite the fact that they did nerf him quite hard with that new Aghanim Scepter change where he does need it in order to pull a teammate. So I think that was a pretty big nerf. Still a fairly viable hero, could be a support or an offlane. We'll kind of have to see how he ends up working out as a Night Stalker. Going to be the first pick over here on the Radiant. And for those of you who maybe haven't really watched the CDEC Classic or don't really know what it is an in-house league. And it is just kind of like the FPL, NEL, or I guess whatever the NEL was. And it's just an in-house league based around China or, you know, the Southeast Asian region in general. I've seen some players with Korean names and people from pretty well wherever. Over here on the Dire, they are going to grab the Undying Bane, two supports that are still incredibly strong. Undying Tombstone did get nerfed quite hard between the zombies dealing a little bit less damage and the Tombstone giving quite a bit more gold when it does go down. Bane, slight nerf in terms of his move speed. Still a really strong laning hero, though. I think maybe not as strong, obviously, but incredibly strong still, especially considering that they didn't really touch Brain Sap, which was certainly one of the better abilities there. Spirit Breaker going to be picked up from the Radiant, so they've already got two very tanky strength heroes here. Will be an off-lane Spirit Breaker with a support Night Stalker somewhere in the mix there. Whether or not they're going to look for anything like dual lanes, we'll have to see, as they will ban out the Gyrocopter on the side of the Radiant. Another hero that didn't really get the nerfs that people would have hoped for. Slight damage nerf on the Rocket from Call Down, but aside from that, Rocket Barrage, Flak Cannon, still very strong abilities here. So Gyrocopter going to be taken out of the pool. I still feel Shadow Fiend and Queen of Pain, incredibly strong heroes, probably going to be getting rid of. Alchemist not as strong, still somewhat good here, as well as the Templar Assassin. Didn't really get touched. One of the few mid heroes who can still do stacks efficiently now that we do see a ton of bonus magic resistance on these creeps. Tiny going to be taken out over here from the Radiant. They don't really want to deal with potential of maybe a Wisp Tiny or just a Tiny in general, another mid laner that still has a lot of strength potential here. So I do like that ban. Dire just waiting to get rid of their last hero here, whoever it may be. Still a very wide open pool, especially considering it's 6.86. There could be a hero you think is strong. I think Invoker wouldn't be bad. We've seen Invoker get picked up a few times here and there, especially during WCA, which has been the first 686 patch tournament, I believe. Not the first game, but the first like big tournament where everybody's kind of around there doing their own thing. So Invoker we have seen get played quite a bit. Very strong hero with that Invoke level 1. Most importantly, it allows you to have a mid laner that can at least help you contest the runes, right? Before it's like, okay, I've got a little bit of bonus damage or something like that. Ursa going to be getting rid of here. Not necessarily because of his Aghanim Scepter change, which is fairly good, as well as his ultimate getting changed a little bit. You can't really purge it off. But he is still a really strong hero, and it really feels like the new map allows for a lot more ganking, a lot more pressure. There's a lot more openings pretty well everywhere to sneak into that jungle, to get into that jungle, perhaps to sneak out of the jungle in order to take Roshan. So could be a great pickup here. I think there's going to be a lot more fighting and a lot more ganking, a lot more pushing emphasis in this meta, just because it's a lot more difficult to do stacks as supports, even as most cores. It will be an Invoker picked up over here on the Dire. That's going to leave Radiance keeping the Shadow Fiend. So did receive some nice nerfs there, of course. He did get a bonus 15 mana that you have to use now in order to raise. It went up from 75 up to a 90, I believe. And then just in general, stacking the camps is very inefficient now as Shadow Fiend, since raise is magical damage. He can't really raise them if he gets, you know, 2, 3, especially 3 stacks of magic resistance creeps there. So makes it really annoying for Shadow Fiend to have to stack camps and try to go through them. And it seems like Ice Frog really nerfing second camps. And look at that, Ogre Magi going to get picked up here. We saw him get a little bit more base regen, up from 2.5 to I believe 3.5. So going to be really annoying in lane. And they've got the dual lane Ogre Magi Bane supports, and that's going to be really, really annoying. It could be an offlane Ogre Magi, actually. Now that I think about it, could just leave the Undying Bane. But either way, they've got two heroes that are fantastic in the lane. From there, they're going to look to convert off a ton of mid-game fighting between the Invoker, the Bane, the Undying. And I imagine they're going to look for their last pick, their safe lane core to do the same. Maybe something like a Luna. Juggernaut is pretty good in the mid lane, especially with that healing ward. Gives you a little bit more sustain, despite the fact you've got the Undying. It never hurts to have a little bit more. Surprisingly enough, Dazzle seems to have gotten hit enough that nobody really wants to pick him up here. I think he's still a fantastic support. Still has the potential to be really, really strong here. And nevertheless, not going to be picked up just yet. As Radiant going in for their next pickup. They've still got a few options. I think Earthshaker, Shadow Shaman, Lion, all still great picks here. Shadow Shaman especially, I think he got kind of a little bit of buff, a little bit of nerf. Early on, wards are somewhat easier to take down now that they require 2 hits. Late game, though, when you usually one-hit them, now you got to spend the 2 hits to do it. Especially, you know, a hero like Shadow Fiend. Around that mid-game, you usually are able to just one-hit the wards. Now you've got to kind of 2-hit them. So, you know, I'm not talking about them, you know, of course, Dire not going to be picking the Shadow Shaman, but just kind of something you always have to think about. Even the Invoker, especially with a lot of points into the Exort now, not really that easy for him to clear through those wards from the Shadow Shaman, and they will go for the Ember Spirit here. So, gonna grab that Ember Spirit. Slight nerf to him where you don't have vision around his Remnant. Not all that big of a deal. I guess it is maybe a little bit easier to gank him wherever his Remnant is left behind, but usually they leave it in a somewhat safe place anyways. If they're a good Ember in general, they don't leave it like in the middle of the lane or anything like that. As they will get rid of the Disruptor here on the Dire. They don't want to deal with that, and we have seen Disruptor get picked up a little bit, surprisingly enough. People are really favoring Disruptor, and Phantom Lance are going to get banded over here on the Radiant. Another hero that would have been good around the mid game, but still, we've got the Luna, we've got the Jug. We could even run a safe lane TA here, wouldn't be all that bad. They don't really have too many ways of punishing it unless they try to rotate like an Ember Spirit, but Night Stalker, Spirit Breaker, not all that great at punishing the TA here. Unless, you know, they pick up an early Orb of Venom to try and chew through those refractions. But look at that, they're going to go for the Bristleback. So another hero that we saw get quite a change with his Aghanim Scepter. Whether or not it's viable, we'll definitely have to see. But it doesn't feel like it would be all that hard to farm up an Aghanim Scepter, and then you're outputting quite a bit of negative armor in an AoE, right? So what's most important is I did want to check, I never did check, if you get only 1 stack of Warpath or multiple, depending on how many heroes you hit with your Nasal Goo. As Visage gonna get picked up here, did receive a slight buff, despite the fact that a lot of people feeling like he really didn't need it, and he's still an incredibly strong hero. Was before, maybe a little bit more situational before. Teams tried to pick him up with, you know, Drow, stuff like that, and now he will get picked up, despite that it is a 3 melee core. So a little bit of an odd pickup on that Visage, and not all that bad whatsoever. Have to keep an eye on this one, as we are going to have a quick DC here. We'll go over who's going to be playing who. Some of the names I certainly cannot pronounce or understand, so I'll probably just go by their color here and get right into it. As over here on the Radiant, it's going to be, I'm going to go ahead and call him Tyr on the Spirit Breaker. Gua is going to be over here on the Visage. Baby is going to be on our Ember Spirit. That's going to leave light blue on the Night Stalker and purple on the Shadow Fiend. Meanwhile, at the opposite end of the map, it's going to be Ice, Ice, Ice. This isn't the real Ice, 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 though, so sorry to disappoint some of you guys. He's going to be taking up the Bane. Over here, green is going to be on the Ogre Magi. CC on the Undying. That's going to leave gray over here on the Bristleback. And April 5th, 1996 is going to be on the mid lane Invoker. And Fairy Fire. We do see quite a few Invokers actually going for the Fairy Fire build here, so it gives you a little bit more damage, which Invoker could always use. And on top of that, it gives you a nice little bit of HP restore if you need it. So a little bit of burst restore helps you maybe turn around a gank. And he is going to get a Tango shared with him, as green's going to rotate over. Boots first on the Ogre Magi. Boots first on Bane? No, definitely can't afford the boots first on Bane, but boots first on the Ogre Magi. Really going to be looking to pressure the enemy team here, and this is now doable because it's easier for him to purchase items, or it's cheaper for him as well as cheaper for Bane, you know. Cheaper courier, cheaper wards. No, wards aren't cheaper. Same wards, but cheaper courier more importantly. So you keep yourself an extra little bit of gold. You can do stuff like this, and already we're gonna start looking at new ward locations. And just look at this map; is so funky, so weird to look at. I haven't even played any games on 6.86. I tried out a bunch of stuff in a test client. You know, just looking at different hero abilities and how the new items looked and worked and stuff like that. And Shadow Fiend, one of the heroes that potentially can build into one of the new items, the Dragon Lance. Not that bad on him whatsoever. If he gets a nice early start, and you're not too worried about going for a BKB or anything like that, gives you a little bit of bonus range on your right clicks. And, you know, Ogre Club as well as the Quarterstaff. Something that you do naturally want to build into a BKB. So spending another 900-ish gold, 875, whatever Quarterstaff is, isn't all that bad, because maybe you can keep it around for a little bit later. You can use it in a butterfly, so it could still be efficient and gives you some nice early stats as well as bonus attack range, which is always good, right? So gonna have to keep an eye on that. Looks like we're gonna have some dual lanes mid. Ice 3 deciding to go for the Brain Sap first, trying to be a little bit more annoying here. Not gonna go for that damage reduction in the Enfeeble, and instead look at that, Invoker already hitting for 62 damage. So nice little bit of damage there, and he's got Sunstrike as well. So this is the new Invoker, everybody. Has the option for an early level 1 ability, as well as, you know, now he's got that nice damage from Exort. And I really like this. I think this definitely makes Invoker more viable. Before, it was kind of a toss-up, right? Sometimes you want to use your first 2 levels into, you know, Cold Strike, or excuse me, you want to put your first 2 levels into Quas as well as Exort, or Exort as well as Wex, depending on how you like to play your lane. And that kind of reduces the potential of an early level 1 Sunstrike kill, or you know, perhaps a level 1 or a level 2 Cold Snap potential kill. And it made it really annoying to play as Invoker because you couldn't really trade all that well. Now you certainly can't, especially it seems like I believe the Wex Exort is going to be the build. Wex Exort at level 2, just because of how strong Alacrity really is. It gives you that opportunity to you know, just output a lot more damage early on. And I do like this. He actually switched up Alacrity as well as Sunstrike here, and I believe that's because if he uses it, he might want to invoke Cold Snap right after, and that allows him to keep Sunstrike as well as Cold Snap in order to get a kill. So just a little nuance there of how to play Invoker. Some people maybe not understanding why he would have just traded up Invoke slots there, but now if he does decide to invoke another spell, he'll still have Sunstrike while most likely having Alacrity on himself. And try to look at the other lanes. I am a huge Invoker fanboy, so that's probably why I'm going to keep a lot of attention over there, as it will be 1v1 Bristleback up against the Night Stalker. So it will be a safe lane Night Stalker. As bot lane, there is a charge up on a CC. Tombstone is down, just about to run out though, and Tyr is just going to back off. Takes a little bit of damage. It will be a tri-lane bottom here, so it's going to be a 2-2-1 Dire with some really greedy lanes here, as they're going to leave their Bristleback solo, as well as the Undying Ogre Magi lanes. So some odd lanes for sure. Charge up over here on a green. Gua is going to start things off with the Grave Chill. Does have level 2 as well, so quite a bit of damage potential. Chains off Mark, though. There's the 17%. Does he have the Soul Assumption? It looks like no. Won't be able to land that one. And more importantly, the Shadow Fiend. This is where it gets annoying. This is really where it gets annoying. You have to rely on this medium camp, which you do stack at about 55. You have to rely on that one. Does get it, thankfully. But even then, you can get the Centaur creep, and they can get bonus magic resistance. And now, what's he do? He can't really stack. He can only go for these single camps. And look at that. There's the Cold Snap to start things off. Just look at the damage from that Invoker. Has Sunstrike if he needs it. Is he going to invoke it? It looks like yes, waiting for the right time to do so. Not sure where he's going to go for. Goes for the Tornado, and there's the first blood for April 5th, 1996. Actually decides to put his next point into Quas, and with it, will get that level 4 and the Tornado invoked there. So Phase Boot's going to be picked up from him. A nice little kill coming out of this mid lane, and now they're forced to kind of abandon the Shadow Fiend. And where's his catch-up mechanism? And this is 6.86 in a nutshell, guys. Game is completely changed. The map is so much wider, so even if he does want to do these camps, you can't really harass or push out the mid lane at 35 and hope to get to this camp. I think it's a little bit too far at this point, and these heroes, these traditional mids like Shadow Fiend, like Queen of Pain, Lina, these heroes that normally could just absolutely dominate the lane and then go to farm stacks right afterwards can't really do so anymore. And that's where heroes like the Invoker, like the Alchemist, the TA that still have the physical damage to do stacks really come ahead here. Now it looks like they're ready to rotate over here onto the Night Stalker. This could be absolutely massive. First night, and he's going to spend quite a bit of time potentially on the sidelines here. We are going to have a salve up from our Bristleback player, and that could kind of sound the horn over here for the Bane to start things off with the Nightmare, as Night Stalker going to find himself a nice Invis rune. We'll see if he looks to pop the Mango and try to gank the mid lane. Salve going to be used here as well. He's going to grab the Invis rune, as we do see Undying get a kill in the Visage bot lane, and this is a terrifying lane. They've got so much sustain. Just look at the regen. All it takes is one Mango, and already we've got 5.4 HP regen on green here. Doesn't even care. Night Stalker is going to dive. There's the Ghost Walk, though. Potential for a turnaround. They're slowing him up under tower. They've got the Cold Snap. There's the Brain Sap, as well as the Raise. They are going to turn that one around. They do rotate 3 heroes to the mid lane, and Invoker just going to laugh that one off. Doesn't even use the Fairy Fire here. And instead, going to survive that gank. Move into the urn right after. And from there, probably try to globally pressure the map a little bit. The Ember Spirit going to be quite susceptible to this early physical damage coming in from that Alacrity. And it is quite a bit. If you look at that, 50 attack speed, 30 damage. So it seems like it might be a Quas Wex build over here for the Invoker. Just getting that early point into the Exhort so that he could have a little bit more damage, as well as the Alacrity here. Is CC taking a little bit of damage here. Invoker going to rotate back towards the mid lane here. Maybe thinking about going on the Shadow Fiend yet again. There's the Nightmare. They don't have anything to tank, though. Alacrity to start things off. Cold Snap, Brain Stop. And look at that. Again, Purple's going to go down here. Ice 3. Doing a great job of setting that one up with the Nightmare. Tanking the tower. Brain Sapping a majority of that damage right back. Nice little Slurpee for him. Is going to use it again. Phase Boot's now picked up on the Night Stalker, but he hasn't really been all that mobile in our first nighttime here, and Bristleback's going to be happy with that. He's going to say, you know what? This guy left the lane once, didn't get anything off of it, pushed an Invoker out, but not that big of a deal since he's already gotten 2 kills on the Shadow Fiend, and already this Bristleback has had almost free farm. It looks like he may be going in for a Vanguard, which we did see get changed as well. 100% of the time you will block between, I believe, I think it's 36 damage and a little bit less depending on the range, or excuse me, depending on if it's a ranged hero. I can't remember. Something like that. It's 36, and then I can't remember what the other value is for a ranged hero, but we'll get some nice block on that Vanguard now. As looks like Charge is coming in. Ice 3, he's here as well. Night Stalker coming in from the backside. Does he get off the Invoke here? Able to get out with it? No, it looks like he won't. There's the double race combo coming in from Purple. Looks like they do want more, though. Night Stalker continuing the chase. There's the Void. Ice 3, Brain Sap in about 4 seconds, as well as Nightmare in 1. Is he going to be able to get it off? They cancel the TP in. Not going to help him out whatsoever. There's the charge up, as well as the right click from Tear. We'll be able to get that one. As it seems like they'll be able to get a kill in the Ogre Magi bot lane as well. Ember Spirit going to be happy with that one. Clarity up over here from Gua as well. Going to be grabbing an Observer Ward. And look at that. They're maybe thinking about going on the Invoker yet again. I really wish I could ask this guy if his name's Tear, Fear. No idea. So now Purple will go in for a stack. It is only a 2 stack though. So definitely not that big of an increase here. We'll just go straight in for the Magic Wand Aquila. And Bristleback still being left with a ton of room in this top lane. This guy's 46 for 10. Absolute massive CS lead on him right now. As the Night Stalker will rotate top, and Daytime will hit. As they do see the Spirit Breaker. There's the sleep. He will have the charge away. Cold Snap should be enough to cancel it, though. As there it is. Will get canceled. Ice 3 going to be the one to Brain Stop up. And now the Ogre Magi even joining the party here. Won't even need an ability. Just going to walk up and say, what's going on over here? Get the EXP and back off towards bot lane, where CC has 3 points now into the zombie house. Tombstone maybe getting ready for that one. Ogre Magi going to rotate in. There's the Flame Guard. Baby not going to start anything just yet. Maybe looking to get aggressive with the chains here. There it is. They are going to start things off here. There's the slow down as well. Tombstone going to be laid out. Baby now does have the Remnant. Will be able to get away from that one. Zombie racing away to chase him, but won't be able to do so. Night Stalker will get the kill on that diving Bristleback. Even helping out here is the Spirit Breaker, as well as the double damage on Purple. So Shadow Fiend going to be happy with that one. Going to help himself catch up a little bit here, as Night Stalker going to be the big winner there, coming out with 303 gold. More importantly, The Invoker now moving in towards his Orchid. Gonna grab that Robe of the Magi, and it's still hitting quite hard. So, no worries there in terms of damage. Green's still sitting pretty now with his Tranquil Boots, and almost level 6 here. Gonna start getting into the RNG as mid lane. It looks like the Spirit Breaker is gonna be setting up for a charge here. Looking to grab the Midas, I believe. There it is. Tornado EMP. EMP gonna hit Tornado off mark. Charge in, though. And now it just seems like there's the wand up. Not gonna give him enough mana, though. One right click, excuse me, and it's not gonna be enough. Bane's gonna rotate in. There's the sleep under the Spirit Breaker. Invoker's still sitting around as they are gonna bring in the Ogre Magi. There's the Ignite. Are they gonna follow it up here? It looks like yes. There's the stun on a purple. Invoker's still ghost walking around. We don't have enough for a raise just yet. Charge up onto the Bane. Is Invoker going to turn this one around? Cold Snap, yes, it looks like he wants to do so. Auto attack on the creep, though, and that's going to be the end of that one for both teams here as Shadow Fiend. No mana to get off the raises there, and that's just the change. The wand didn't give him enough, but just in general, and there's the body blocks coming down. Void is going to be off cooldown. There it is. We'll shoot it out here. I believe they're going to try and get the kill in the Bristleback. Nighttime even going to be popped here. Are we going to have any TP rotations? Bristleback is quite tanky here. If we had any TPs, this could easily be a turnaround. They're both so low. Invoker, imagine if he had the Tornado EMP TP there. Would have been absolutely massive return. Unfortunately, won't be able to do so. And we do have Ice 3 with the Invis Rune. Does he have grip? Oh, if only he had grip. Baby probably could have been a kill here. So they are going to look over towards the 6 on the Gua. Ice 3 going to try and soak up some of that level 6. As there it is. They're going to start things off. Tombstone going to be laid down. There's the Brain Sap. Gua getting quite low. Should go down. Will turn around and at least get off one ability before going down. Invoker maybe thinking about going on a Baby. Does he have a Remnant out? He does. Not for much longer though. So he does have the Tornado EMP. He does get seen, though. Maybe just wanting to go for the Visage Familiars. His Baby. That's not really want a Remnant. He's going to have to just dip out of the lane. Looking like he is going to go for the drums first before Boots of Travel. Potentially going to go for the treads, though. As normally you do go the drums treads build. If that's what you want to do. If not, you just kind of rush the bots. Mid lane now getting pressured out by Tear, or Fear, whoever you want to say, as well as the Shadow Fiend here. Looks like Invoker willing to rotate now. Does still have Invoke here, if he means to use it. Smoke up. Was it seen? I don't believe so. Are some pings out coming mid? Even Ember Spirit showing up in the mid lane, trying to cut the creep wave. Are they going to try and find a return kill here? Ember Spirit does have a Remnant out, not for long though, and he looks to be the gank target here. No Remnant means he might go down. Invoker looking to cut him off from behind. Still actually level 6 on a Bane. Now there it is. Cold Snap up. Baby turning around, but it's into another ability that he doesn't want to see, and it looks like he will go down. There's the EMP, going to be enough to get the kill, and he will die. Invoker helping out as now we do have a DD on the Shadow Fiend. Is it going to be enough to get the kill here? No, he is going to get stunned up by the Ogre Magi. Charge up Tornado. Easy kill as now Bristleback maybe in a little bit of trouble here. Has to turn and run. Does have a couple wand charges if he needs to use it. As there's the Cold Snap canceling the ultimate here. Familiar going to walk in. Gua's going to throw out a couple abilities. Not before he goes down, as well as a triple kill for the Invoker. Out of nowhere, this guy manages to get 3 kills. And look at the Night Stalker trying to dive the tower. There's the wand charges. Is he going to be tanky enough? It looks like yes. There's the heal from the Undying as well. And now Night Stalker a little bit too fast for the Radiant to, or excuse me, for the Dire to chase out. And Soul Assumption so close to getting a kill there from Gua. Unfortunately won't be able to do so. And the Invoker getting closer and closer to that Orchid. And Ember Spirit, he perhaps is going to have to be forced to get a very, very early Manta Style. Not really something he wants to do. Mechanism now picked up on our Undying. There it is. They're going to start things off. Tombstone Ignite. There's the charge in as well. Tornado going to cancel that one. Fear, where are you going, buddy? He's going to go down. EMP even going to buy them a little bit more space. Purple going to have to back out after that one. He's going for the mech build, but it really just looks like the death ball from the Dire's coming online a little bit too early. Night Stalker ignited. Is he going to get caught out here? There's a zombie chasing. Is it going to be enough to slow him down here? As Invoker does have Tornado in 10 seconds, but they won't continue the chase on that one. They will just back up and look to take out this top tier 1 here. It is quite low. Bristleback sitting around all alone. Looks like he might be able to take this one out himself. Void going to get rid of that creep, but not before the Ignite, the multicast. And now it looks like Tornado will hit here. Night Stalker's in a whole lot of trouble as they did manage to cancel the charge over here onto the Spirit Breaker player. And now it's just getting so tough. They have no way to deal with this, and the Orchid is just coming faster and faster. They can't shoot through this, and where's the damage? They've got a mechanism on the SF player who's barely able to take out the stack here. He's just so far behind in terms of farm. He's only got a Keela treads, and just look at this tower melt right now. They don't even have a Necro book. They don't have the extra units here. Bane's rich. Undying's rich. Ogre Magi is absolutely loaded, and let's just take a look at the net worth. Absolutely massive this early on. EXP telling us the same story. If we take a look at it though, Shadow Fiend not far behind in the net worth lead, but with this tower going down yet again, it looks like the Die are going to start taking more and more of a lead. Ogre Magi just sitting up there, so tanky with that 12 armor. A little bit of HP regen as well, always going to go a long way as Baby forced to TP to the bot lane, but this guy's not having fun whatsoever. Really a non-factor in these fights. Only 2 points into the Searing Chains, decides to get an early point into that Sleight of Fist, and realistically, doesn't feel like the Radiant's going to be able to help out here. Bristleback getting that nice fancy new rune on him, and doesn't really use it all that much, but that new rune going to be pretty effective on Bristleback. Really low cooldown on Quill Spray. I believe it'll be like 1 second or 1 point something. 1.6 maybe? What is it? 30% reduction, 50% mana reduction. Either way, absolutely massive on Bristleback. As there it is, yeah. I believe just the values going back up. It was 17 mana for him. That's pretty huge on a strength hero. You can really just spam out your abilities so much more here. And look at that. Does have the Vanguard. Does have the casual cloak. As there it is. The Ignite going to start things off. He is going to try to charge away. Cold Snap going to prevent that one though. And it looks like he will go down. Searing Chain, Sleight of Fist going to land on both neutral creeps though. Maybe now the Ember Spirit in a little bit of trouble. Unstoppable for the Invoker. And 12-5. It really looks like the Dire's ready to close this one out. They will grab the Orchid on the Invoker. Mechanism slowly getting finished up on the SF, but he's just so far off still. And now the Ember Spirit looking to come in and secure some neutral camps. Won't be able to do so. SF was quite greedy with those. Looking for the Battle Fury after Brown Boots, and that's all they can do to hope to stop this push. And realistically, he's saying, all right, we give up all the outer towers. By that time, I hopefully have a Battle Fury, and it's tougher for them to push in. But really, again, where's the rest of the damage? The Night Stalker hasn't got enough off. He's going for the Aghanim Scepter. He's not really one of these offlaners that's able to output a lot. They're putting a lot into the Spirit Breaker's Midas here, which is actually coming out a lot slower than expected. It is 16 minutes, so could have it around the 19-20 minute mark if he does manage to farm up quite well here. Top lane though, Ember Spirit maybe going to get caught out from the Bane here. The Invoker rotating in from the backside. Is Ghost walked up, and are they going to be able to find him? It looks like Invoker, oh, he's so close. He does find him. The Orchid, Cold Snap, they're waiting on the SF, who is going to get slowed out here as well. There's the charge up, the Fiend's Grip. No way to cancel that one just yet. Creep's actually blocking up this Bristleback, so he's unable to output a lot of damage. Brain Sap as well as the Urn going to be enough though. And now they are going to dust up the Invoker. Does he even care though? He's just going to turn this one around. Still has the Orchid. There's the stun up onto the Night Stalker. Go on the backside. Is going to use the Cold Embrace there. Is going to get the mechanism. The Tombstone going to go down here. Purple going to unleash the ultimate. Ice Tree going to get healed up though. Invoker getting quite low. Does have his... No, not going to be able to get it off. Actually, Gua going to be able to secure the kill though. They trade a 1-for-1 so far. Actually, a 2-for-1. 3-for-1. There it is. It looks like it's going to be a 3-for-1 trade as the Ember Spirit going to have to back out of that one. A double kill going the way of the Bristleback. But yet again, that Soul Assumption doing work. Able to secure the kill. Invoker getting greedy. Not using his wand charges or his Ghost Walk there. So a little bit unaware of the whole team fight situation. Trying to min-max his HP as much as possible as Ogre Magi getting that Aether Lens. Just look at the range on Ignite. Even Fire Blast getting a nice little bit of bonus range there. And gonna be so annoying to deal with this Ogre Magi now, as he doesn't even have the finished wand here. Gonna be nice and efficient. What do we have on the courier? Guardian Greaves now. And how do you stop the Undying? You can't silence him on the Night Stalker. Just gonna purge that one off. Invoker back in the bot lane, running around here quite quickly with that Ghost Walk, as well as the 3 points in the Wex here. And they will manage to find out. The Spirit Breaker in the jungle does try to get his Midas. He is going to go down here. Look at him just absolutely blow up. Neutral's helping out a little bit there as well, as they are going to try and use the land from the Familiar to prevent a little bit more of a gank onto that Visage. But he won't go down. Invoker going to Ghost Walk yet again. Seeing who they can find out. Not going to grab anybody just yet. Looks like he is pinging out the top lane though. The Ember Spirit is going to be the target. Remember, he does have that Orchid. Could easily solo him with an Alacrity. Perhaps even an EMP here. TP out. Will he catch him? Yes, he will. There's the Orchid. There's the EMP, actually. Cold Snap. Is he going to be in range? I don't believe so. So maybe a little bit of a misplay. Now the Mechanism. The turnaround on the Evoker. He's trying to TP out. He won't be able to do so. Double raise from the Shadow Fiend. Easily able to secure that kill. And he's just going to go over towards the tower now. It looks like the Dire pushing mid lane. Gua is going to get stunned up. Is it going to be enough, though? It looks like no. Bristleback thinking about chasing that one. Is going to move in towards the stage. Despite the fact that it did get nerfed, nobody going to have a BKB anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much here. Not going to be going for that new Aghanim Scepter. As looks like Darkness will get popped here. Who are they going to try to go on? They do have an Invis Rune on the Shadow Fiend. They're looking for the Money Requiem, but they do know he's there. They have the Sentry, the Silence on the Ogre Magi. CC still just staying in the trees. Charge up on the Ogre, but he's just so tanky. And now there's the Tombstone. It looks like absolutely nothing done by the Spirit Breaker. Tombstone trying to get targeted by the Familiar Birds. There's the grip onto the Night Stalker, and Shadow Fiend afraid to even pass by. Gonna take the long way home as Invoker looking to jump back in with his team in this mid lane here. What's he gonna pick up now? It looks like maybe a little bit lost here in the new map changes. Mid lane is gonna get pressure down now. They do still have the Tombstone in about 30 seconds. Let's fortify on the structures now. Heroes that normally you wouldn't really expect to be high grounding this early on. Gonna be able to do so. The Bristleback with the S and Y completed. Now this guy is so tanky. I have no idea how you try to kill him. Stun up over here on a purple. As the Bristleback gonna start going down on this tower, and there's Squad gonna throw out the Soul Assumption. Tornado EMP will catch out the SF. No mech for you. Stun up, Orchid up. He's gonna go down. Guardian's Greave being used, and I imagine we might even see a GG sometime soon. Sleight of Fist is absolutely tickling this team. Night Stalker going to jump in on this one. Cold Snap going to be used immediately, but they will lose their mid-racks. And with only a Perseverance and a Claymore on this Ember Spirit, where's their D-push after they have super melee creeps in this mid lane? Absolutely nowhere. Visage going to be unable to push out these side lanes now. As Tornado not going to hit the Spirit Breaker, but I don't even think it matters at this point. The Dire can do absolutely anything, and they'll be able to find themselves the kills. As look at this Undying, just so confident right now. Even still has his Fairy Fire from early on. Invoker doesn't have his though. CC with the Guardian Greaves Fairy Fire, just gonna get earned up. Uses his Soul Rip there. Give him a little bit more HP. Baby gonna zip out before he can get ignited up. There's the Tombstone. Is it gonna go down? It will. Familiar is gonna be traded for that one. Doesn't even matter though. It seems like this is the second set of racks, and everybody's just kind of sitting in the fountain. It looks like they've just given it up. I imagine we'll see the GG anytime now. Baby gonna try and output whatever damage he can, but again, Sleight of Fist doing absolutely nothing. Requiem being channeled in the fountain and then canceled. That seems to be good game. Haven't seen it just yet, and there it is. GG from Gua. And good game. A very, very early end from this one. And yeah, that really seems like what we're going to be seeing in 6.86. More fighting, more pushing, more ganking, and good game well played. 22 minutes in. A very, very quick game in the CDEC Classic, and hopefully you guys did enjoy it over on YouTube as well as the guys watching over on Twitch. And stick around because I'm going to be doing this for quite a while. And thanks for watching, guys. Do take care.